Hi everybody, it's Jane
and Mike
and Betty today
from Earth Care Farm, and we want to talk about a couple things. First, it's peak tomato season. It is August 14th. It's a special day here because it is their anniversary. We're celebrating 48 years that they've been together. Pretty impressive. It's also a wonderful time of year because it is tomato season. And I want to show you, we've had a lot of questions about our tomatoes lately. I'm just going to show you some of the tomatoes we picked today. I still haven't made it to the sun golds or the yellow, the Dad's sunset, or a lot of the varieties, but just off some of our plants, we've gotten so much diversity of tomatoes. I want to talk a little bit about, if you're not familiar with growing with heirlooms, and this is your first year growing with heirloom tomatoes, sometimes they look a little different than you're expecting for ripeness. I know we always trip Grammy up in the garden because one like this is actually ripe when it has green shoulders, but if you flip it over, it's nice and pink. And this is the Cherokee Purple, and you can tell it's ripe. First of all, you just kind of get used to it, but just from growing it from experience. But there's a softness to it. All the tomatoes that are ripe have a softness. They feel ripe. So I would go by texture. But on your plant, it's going to look like this. You're not going to know it's ripe. And then suddenly it's going to go by and you've missed one of the most delicious tomatoes that there is on the planet, I think. So that's just my 2 cents. Lots of different types here. And I just can't, I'm just eating way too many tomatoes at this moment. Are you guys all too?
Well, everyone knows from, if you watched our last video, how I love a tomato sandwich this time of year. And I like to give a little plug for roadside stands and farmers markets and community supported agriculture, CSAs. I have said that you can't buy a tomato that tastes like this, that you need it from your garden. But I'm a little wrong there. I'm kind of meaning the chain stores, the big markets. You don't get the same taste and flavor and nutrition. But I want to give this plug to farmers markets, roadside stands, and CSAs, because if your garden doesn't have the diversity of Jaynes and you want different crops, you can get them there and get to know your farmer and get really healthy crops.
So the other thing we've had a lot of questions about is, earlier on I said I stopped watering the tomatoes back in, it was like mid-July, and a lot of people have been saying, what about now, what about now? We've had such a drought. The beautiful thing about a soil that is high in organic matter is that it really holds moisture. And this is the true time of year to test that. So I'm going to show you our tomato plants. If your tomato plants are showing signs of sun, like wilting, you should definitely water. But only if they are. If they aren't, which we're going to pan over here, this is where we harvested our tomatoes from. They're not getting any water, and they're green and lush, and you can just see they don't look like they need water. We've had very little water in the past month and a half. Yesterday we did get a blessed little drizzle, but it's already dry by now. And it's just a good testament of what organic matter can do for your soil. There's so much going on there, but those roots are deep in there, still getting moisture out of that soil. So that's that. And then we were going to talk about zinnias today. Zinnias bring such joy. That's actually the essence of the plant. And I just grow them for fun and for butterflies. This is our bed of zinnias. And it has been Grammy's job to deadhead the zinnias to keep them looking fresh. So Grammy's going to show us what she does. She's got her scissors.
Here they are.
Whoops, I need that.
Not the best scissors, because the clippers are actually in the barn with the garlic right now. But,
Everyone has blisters from trimming garlic right now.
Yes, but these work fine. And I actually did go through here just yesterday, and I did a lot of deadheading. And I do, there's something gratifying about deadheading. First it used to be kind of sad because I felt like I was taking flowers away that still had some beautiful life in them, but now I've come to think of it as that they're giving way to the younger buds to come up. So, you know, there's a couple here that I could still deadhead, and one would be this one. You can see the bees really still enjoying it.
That's a little bumblebee, a little sweat bee, but he's still finding
more.
Look at his legs, just loaded with pollen.
But this little guy right here is very pretty, is just about on his last legs. If you were to pick him for a bouquet, he'd probably be dead in the morning. And you can see it because of the pollen. And what would you call this part, Jane? I don't know.
That's a good question. Maybe the anther?
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
exactly, but
You can see how much bigger it is than, you know, the little ones coming out. And it gets larger and larger, but this one's about done. So I just go down. If you go down the stem, you can see where there's a fork. And I snip it on the side, a little bit of an angle, and then these two are going to grow more, and it's going to put a lot more life into these other little ones.
it's all about transforming that energy, taking the energy from one that's already kind of passed and putting it into the new ones that are going to produce more.
And this one's struggling a little over here. This one.
This one, yeah.
This one is struggling a little. So I'd probably let him go, and so the others will come up next to it a lot better.
Look
But
at the
you'll-
hummingbird. I don't know if you can see because it might be too far, but hummingbird right on that zinnia.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
But when they're healthy, when they're deadheaded like that, they look so healthy and happy and beautiful to go through. So
I was just going to say too, these two, their seeds of love 48 years ago have just created so much beauty on this planet. It's amazing, from the many, many, many children that Grammy's touched through her educating them, and just through the massive amounts of soil life Poppy has created here and made this place healthier and better every single year. So it's just amazing what you can do when you really bring together just an intention of love. So thanks for doing that.
Thanks for listening.
thank you, Jane.